Welcome back to Connect the World. I'm Lynda Kinkade. Good to have you with us. Well, the United Nations says Myanmar's military junta is holding up some vital aid to some storm-hit communities in western Rakhine state after that cyclone devastated the lives and livelihoods of millions of people in the poorest parts of the country. Rescue groups are warning of what they call a large-scale loss of life. Hundreds are feared dead after the powerful storm barreled into Myanmar's coast on Sunday. CNN has been speaking to people who saw their homes and loved ones swept away in Sunday's storm. Our Paula Hancock reports.
It was one of the strongest cyclones to ever hit Myanmar. And it hit the most vulnerable and desperate. Temporary shelters in this Rohingya refugee camp were destroyed. More than 400 people have died, and entire villages have been wiped out, according to eyewitnesses. Those who survived try to salvage anything left of their homes. And later rest those who were lost. Ongzor already lost his home once, fleeing religious persecution by Myanmar's military 10 years ago, leaving everything behind. He's now homeless again.
Let me just show you the situation over here. My home is completely destroyed. Some of the people have already cleared my area.
He has been helping search and rescue missions, looking for the bodies of his neighbors and helping to bury the dead.
My heart is very, very broken. I don't know how to mention in words. But when I see the dead bodies, I can't control my tears.
Myanmar's military has been accused of killing thousands of Muslim Rohingya in a bloody and brutal crackdown. It's been described by the United Nations as a genocide. About 1 million Rohingya fled to neighbouring Bangladesh starting in 2017, but hundreds of thousands still live here in Myanmar, many displaced and in dire need of humanitarian aid. Abdul Hussein says he saw his wife and 3 daughters swept away by the water as they tried to flee to safety.
There are a lot of families like us. We need shelter. We have no food. We don't know what to do tonight, what we eat for lunch, and what we will do tomorrow. We've just lost everything.
Hussein shows us where he slept with his surviving children and grandchildren last night. Do you think there will be any help coming from the military?
I don't believe they will come to help us. I will just have to struggle to feed the 6 members of my family that are left.
Myanmar's junta leader, Min Aung Hlaing, visited this same hard-hit area, Sittwe, on Monday. He promised aid from the military, but the UN and many international aid organisations say they have been heavily restricted from entering the country under junta rule since they seized power 2 years ago, leaving the residents of Rakhine, many living in camps, to fend for themselves.
Systems completely destroyed our life and bring us on the road again.
Already vulnerable communities hoping for help that may never come. Paula Hancock, CNN.
Well, Stephen Anderson is the country director of the World Food Programme in Myanmar. He joins us now live via Skype from the capital, Naypyidaw. Thanks so much for your time. Just given the extent of the damage, how challenging is it to assess the situation and talk to us about your coordination of efforts on the ground there?
Thank you. The situation is extremely dire. The UN estimates that over 5 million people have been affected, and about 3.2 million of them are extremely vulnerable due to this cyclone, which is the worst in at least 10 years in the region. And the World Food Programme, we are focusing on the 800,000 people who have been in the direct path of this cyclone that have been rendered homeless, and they're struggling to make ends meet their food. They just don't have enough. They don't have food. So we're very much focused in trying to get, we've actually started distributions in 2 states, Rakhine and Magwe, another state. and we are in the process of trying to gear up to assist, particularly first and foremost in the 8 most hard-hit townships of central Rakhine, who desperately need food. They, of course, also need desperately water, shelter, health services. The needs are immense.
Talk to us about the other challenges, because we have heard from UN agencies on the ground reporting issues with the military, travel restrictions, holding up aid, from stopping it, really preventing it from getting to those who need it. Has the World Food Programme been given access to some of those people who are in the most desperate situation?
The World Food Programme has already started distributions to families in cyclone shelters in Sitwe and in Magwe. And we are in the process. We have received permissions to actually commence transport and distributions and assessments in in the 8 hardest hit areas of central Rakhine. We're still in the early days of the response. It's a very complex situation with many moving parts, as it would be in many parts of the world when there's a major natural disaster of this magnitude. Unfortunately, it comes on top of a more complex situation that's playing out in Myanmar in terms of conflict. And so the ability to, it's not just a matter of racing against time in terms of getting to these people, but the situation is extremely complex with different parties on the ground. So we have to, there's some infrastructure that's been washed out, but it's also to deal with a number of different groups. But we are doing our best to try to access everyone in need wherever they are.
Yeah, certainly a difficult situation to navigate on so many levels. Stephen, you mentioned the 5 million people in Rakhine in the northeast in the path of the cyclone. What are the key points of focus? What are the priorities right now in the coming days?
Well, the priority in the coming days is to try to get, well, first of all, we're bringing in, we have some assistance already in the region. We have actually a strong presence already in Rakhine region. So, and we actually have food, although some of our warehouses have been damaged, but we do have food already on the scene, and we are bringing 2,000 tons of rice and 400 tons of high energy biscuits. That's also on the way from Yangon. So we've actually dispatched additional staff to the area, because also our staff, all their houses have been destroyed. They're also trying to pick up the pieces. We're doing everything we can, working around the clock to try to get food out to the most affected people. But it's not easy, and anyone who has not received, of course, they are in an extremely difficult situation. The local authorities have also, of course, they're deploying whatever assets they can, and certainly all aid groups are doing their best to try to gain access. As I mentioned earlier, there are also critical needs in terms of water, shelter, health services, among others.
Yeah, and just looking at these images, Stephen, of this widespread devastation, it feels kind of overwhelming in terms of where to start. But this is obviously just the immediate response you're focusing on right now. Does the World Food Programme have the resources and the assistance it needs to help these people in the coming weeks and months ahead?
Well, thankfully, we have some resources on the ground that we're immediately drawing upon. However, this is part of a much more complex emergency situation that's playing out in parts of the country due to conflict and also economic dislocation. And so we critically need about $60 million which would also include the immediate requirements for the 800,000 people under this cyclone-affected populations. So really, we are urgently appealing for about $60 million to try to meet the most critical food assistance needs of these populations there, but also in other parts of the country which are conflict affected and populations are really facing critical needs.
Well, we hope you get the support you need, and we will make sure we put your details on our website on cnn.com/impactyourworld and get you the help that you need. Thanks so much for your efforts, Stephen. Appreciate it.